Hello, family. Now let's get into it. I know a lot of times we don't like to talk about the hard stuff because it could be shameful and embarrassing, but hey, we got to talk about it. It's the only way that we're going to grow and we're going to keep going. So, I'm starting this new, I guess you could say, series, you could say, um, of putting out videos to help us grow and to help us to keep going. Because what we don't want to do is to stay stagnant, stop growing, and stop going. We don't want to do that. If God gives us new grace and mercy every day, we got to learn from our mistakes and we have to keep going. All right? So let's get into it. So, we talking about the eye for eye, evil for evil, sin for sin. Who wins in the end, right? You can answer that. So, have you ever wanted to pay somebody back from doing something to you? Whether they cheated on you, whether they hurt your feelings, whether they talked about you in front of your face, behind your back, whatever it may have been, whether they have persecuted you, they hit you, they just hurt you, right? Have you ever been to the point to where you wanted to pay somebody back from doing what they did? Well, let me help you out. Do you know what's on the other side of paying somebody back? Either evil for evil, sin for sin. So I'm gonna help you out. Don't take on anybody else's sin. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm gonna say it again. Do not take on anybody else's sin at all. I advise strictly against it. All right. So 1 Peter 2:11 in the NIV, it says, abstain from sinful desires, which rages war against your soul. It rages war against your own soul. So the Bible tells us that we could be angry, but sin not, right? And so one of the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not kill or murder, right? And thou shalt not be covetous. So thou shalt not be jealous, right? So there's so many different ways or whatever that we can portray this sin for sin or evil for evil. We should not try to repay. God says, vengeance is mine, say the Lord, right? So in Psalms 7:14 says, whoever is pregnant with evil conceives trouble and gives birth to disillusionment. So disillusionment means a feeling of disappointment resulting from the discovery that something is not as good as you believed it to be. So that means at the beginning, once they hurt you, you made up in your mind you were going to pay them back. They going to feel what I felt. They're going to get their revenge, right? You're going to get your revenge on them. But once you have done it, or those of you that have not yet, let this be a lesson to you. Those of you who have repaid it, right? You found out later on that the consequences came back to bite you in the butt. It came back and it ended up affecting you more than what it would have been had you just walked away, had you learned how to deal with those emotions and those feelings. Now, what I can tell you is that yes, it does hurt. We're not negating your feelings at all. Being hurt by somebody or something doesn't feel good at all, but there is a way to deal with it. And so one of my favorite stories, reverting back to hurt feelings, is Cain and Abel. God showed up at the doorstep. He showed up immediately when Cain was feeling the way that he was feeling, jealousy. He showed up immediately once he decided he was going to plot against his brother and try to kill him. God showed up every single time, every step of the way, even to the point to where after he had already killed his brother, God still showed up. He still showed up. And he asked him, he gave him a chance to tell and confess and tell him the truth. But Cain didn't do so. So therefore, judgment fell on him. And so at the end of the day, God will always be the first responder of your feelings. Every emotion, every every situation that you will ever go through. He will always be the first responder. You just have to open your ears to hear him. He wants to comfort you. He wants to help you. He wants to help you to get through those feelings and those emotions. Because even when he went to Cain, he told him, hey, sin is crouching at the door waiting to overtake you. And that's how a lot of us are when we get in our feelings and we get hurt. Sin is crouching at the door waiting for us to overtake us. Because in one moment, you have control of sin, and then next thing you know, sin has control of you. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, we want to make sure that we are doing our part not to wage war against our own souls, against ourselves. So 1 Peter 3:9, it says, not returning evil for evil or insult for insult, for those who like to talk back, but giving a blessing instead. For you were called for the very purpose that you would inherit a blessing. So my question to you, because we all have choices, this is just a warning. This is just to help somebody who wants to get out of the cycle of getting all of those consequences put right back on them after they try to revenge themselves. So the question is, would you rather be put in captivity, or would you rather reap the blessings? Because at the end of the day, the wages of sin is death. And just like we read in 1 Peter 3:9, it said that not to repay any of those things, for there's an inheritance of blessings for you. So you could pick up your blessings by walking away from revenging yourself. You could pick up those blessings by holding your tongue instead of cursing somebody, right? You could pick up your blessings by just walking away, period. God will avenge you. He always will, and he always has. So at the end of the day, I hope this helped you out. And again, keep growing and keep going, but don't stay stuck. Amen.